Welcome back to Desert Theory. Tonight, we're starting out the machine shop and we have our rear trailing arms over here. And we were gonna get them in the sandblaster, but they're not fitting in there too good. So I'm gonna take these pads, these flat disc pads, and I'm gonna try and buff this up a little bit and get all that rust off of there, clean them up a little bit. And then if there's some areas I can't reach, try and get them in the sandblaster at that point. I don't think we're gonna be able to get all this done today. It's just me starting out here today, and when Kelly can go to the other shop, he's gonna give me a call. We'll head over there real quick, and then we're gonna work on those CVs, axles. That's a kind of an expensive part, and we wanna make sure those are good. So that's the plan for tonight, and I'll get started on these. So just to kind of show you the difference here, I'll just show you the top of this arm. See how nice all that looks, and then you can see. So it's worth it for us to take some time here and clean this up, get that rust off there. Just a surface rust, not a big deal, but we can crack check, we can do everything quite a bit easier with it cleaned up, and it just looks better. Okay, so I got both the arms up here now, and you can really see, it looks like they replaced one. One was painted, one was bare steel, and it's got a few little differences. Just this boxed in here where these shock mounts, yeah, this one doesn't. So I think we might want to just go ahead and box those in. So we might kind of leave it here tonight, and we have the other spot to fix anyway, but leave it here enough to get that. So this one's going to take a little more work having all that paint on there. So start grinding on that and see what happens. Well, we got the arms cleaned up as much as they're gonna get cleaned up tonight. Got them stored underneath there for now, kind of out of the way. I'm gonna try and get cleaned up a little bit myself, get in my truck and head over to the other shop. So we'll see you over there. All right, so back out of the race shop, and it looks like Kelly's not gonna make it to bits, so I'm gonna just start tearing into this thing myself. Luckily, we got a blowout schematic from Fortin. They were nice enough to send this. So, and they told us that this is, all of our stuff is Fortin. So they said this was gonna be a tap on off as far as the bearing and the CV went. So kind of get to working on that a little bit. Really can't thank Fortin enough. They've just been awesome to deal with. It's pretty neat when they're willing to work with the big race teams, the biggest there are in the industry, and then little teams like us that are just getting going and need help just figuring out some pretty basic stuff. So just can't say enough about a company like that that takes care of everybody. So pretty cool. Okay, I turned the camera off for a little bit, and basically what I did is I ran this brass punch down through these holes in that hub. Was able to kind of get at that CV just a little bit. So did that a few times. Okay, so I think this whole piece right here, we can take over to the solvent tank, kind of get that cleaned up. Do the same thing with that one. That one maybe has a little bit of rust on this bearing. So I couldn't quite tell, but if it's any rust, it's gone. If it's a little bit of, if it's not rust, maybe it was just that way that grease was picked up there. So we'll take a look at that. This would be the passenger side hub. And I'm just a little more worried. I think I see some, I actually think I see it right now, some rust on here. So we'll get this one off first. See what it is. Well, that was easy. Now, All I gotta do is figure out how to get the camera over there without getting greased everywhere. Be interesting. Woo! This is just, I mean, maybe the best grease I've ever seen, or the worst. It just is horrible. It's ruining clothes, hats. But it does do a great job of staying on these CVs. So all these CVs, all these little parts here, the balls, that CV, this is the cage, all this stuff is super expensive. And what we're hoping to find is just some good parts, not worn very much. And it'll save us a lot of money this first time not having to do that. So we'll see. Okay, so Kelly and I were talking on the phone there a few minutes ago, and we were looking at races. And what we think we're gonna do is Yerington, the VORRA series, Yerington, first race in it's the weekend before Memorial Day. So Kelly's talking to Tristan tonight. I got to talk to Lisa, but we're kind of thinking that'll be our first race of the year. It's a little bit of a gamble because it can either be beautiful and sunny and 80, or we've had snow down there on Memorial Day weekend. So a little touch and go on the weather, but it might not be quite as hot as it is obviously later in the year. So that'd be kind of a fun race to get to go to and kind of try and get that on the calendar. So that's what we're working on. And hopefully by next Thursday, we'll know if that's going to be the one after family and wives check their calendars. So pretty excited about that, getting that in the books. All right, so it's pretty dark in here, but I'm going to try this anyway. It's not going to look too professional here, but keep saying that we've won some races in this, and we have a few of our trophies up here on the wall. So these are all smaller race events, but see this. So this says first place, Yerington, Nevada, 99. So that's actually probably in a, I'm guessing that's in a Chenoweth. That's in a Chenoweth class 1 we ran. But down here, like the 2008, so that's the second place in the Yerington, 2008. Here's another desert race, Lovelock, 99, third place. That's probably back to the Chenoweth. Yerington 300, 2010, so that's got to be in the Baja Bug, class 5 and class 1. Third place, class 1 again, and that's in class 5 and in the class 1, and that looks like another, yep, 105, second place. So we have quite a few second, third place in this car. This car just kept moving, and obviously we weren't going to beat anybody going through the real rough stuff or something the fastest, but we kept it moving. So I know this is going to be horrible on camera, but I'm going to do it anyway because probably not going to do anything else with it. So this car here, that's the old, my dad and Ken raced that. They were both a little bit heavier, so they had on top, you can't really see it, but the number plate on top is a pig. They were the Pork Brothers, and they raced that car. We raced it out in Milliken, but there was a lot of memories with that car. Pretty neat car, and just a lot of good times, even in those smaller cars. So these are all just pieces. So we got a little bit of an issue here, right there. Maybe more than a little bit of an issue, but that video that I linked to description to a long time ago with All German Motorsports, they kind of talk about turning these around and running them the other way and kind of getting a little more life out of them, changing whether they're on the transaxle side or the down by the wheel, because they're stronger. And I kind of forget, so I'll have to actually watch that video again when we go to put these back together, but we might be able to kind of save that because of them. All right, so now I'm just getting all these parts laid out on here to where they can kind of dry out. And see how dirty that pan still is. I mean, that's just from, that grease just sticks to everything. It really be interesting to see what Fortin says to use. I'm assuming that's what Brent used, and it's some good stuff. So a couple people were kind of commenting and talking to me, and they were saying they can't believe how much work you have to do on this car every time. And while, yes, you do have to do it, I think some people maybe confused all the work we did on the rear trailing arms on the Baja Bug. Remember when we came back from the race, we had to get all that stuff done before we raced this car. So we came back, changed all that, fixed all the rear trailing arms. And so now we're doing the same exact thing, and we only ran it like 15 or 20 miles that day. But we hadn't taken those apart yet. So we had taken the front end apart, replaced all the uniballs, replaced all the Heim joints, and in the back, we knew that we probably had some stuff to work on, but it wasn't a real safety issue. It wasn't like those parts at the end of his last race that he raced, they were worn out. They had to be replaced probably before we could go again, or we were gonna do some permanent damage to those arms and have to replace them. But in the back, we didn't see anything like that. So we wanted to be able to take it to the desert. We wanted to be able to bounce it around, see what else happened, just like the shift linkage, how that kind of failed. So we probably won't take off the rear trailing arms after every race. We're gonna have to figure out those wear items. In one of our videos, we said we were gonna call Sam Barry and talk to him and kind of get a interval base on how often he was changing stuff out. And he raced every race. He raced every race at VORRA, and he raced every race at Best in the Desert. So he's really gonna know what's wearing out quicker. So even though it looks like we're diving all back into this thing, we really hadn't done that much. We hadn't done a full race prep. So that's kind of where we are. And we'll take a lot of stuff apart between races, because it stinks to spend all the money, do your entry fee, drive to the race, get there, and then either have problems before the race starts. You see people working on cars. We've had to do it too. Or you're out racing and you could be on the podium, but you have some bolt come loose or something break that's a 15-cent part, but you didn't take it apart and look at it. So taking stuff apart, looking at it, magnafluxing it, it all just helps you finish and get to the victory line. Get to the victory line. Get to the finish line. And that's why we all raced, right? So this bearing, that race, and then the other bearing that goes with it, Kelly looked it up, and what we thought there was maybe rust on there, that was $500 for that race and bearing setup. It's out of a mill, like a machining mill. That's what it's all from. And so we're pretty happy we don't see any rust on these. Like, really happy. So we have 2 of the 4 CVs done. They look pretty darn good. Maybe replace stars. I think that's going to be it for tonight. This thing is still a long ways apart, and we're really not done with anything. We're not done with the CVs. We're not done with the trailing arms. So just me out here working tonight, and it slowed things down a bit. So, but no big deal. We got a race date, and it's the end of May, so it's coming quick. But I guess we better hammer this out and keep coming out here once a week, maybe twice a week coming up here. So. Well, that's all we have. I think I'm going to call it a night, get out of here. It's not the same working by yourself, so I think we're going to call 11:30 good enough. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. They don't fit in the sandblaster grate, so this morning, it's not this morning.